Welcome to the Middle Ages, where logic took a vacation and hygiene was a myth. You wake up surrounded by mud, monks, and mysterious smells. Let's explore the customs history tried very hard to delete. 1. Trial by pig. A farmer's pig tramples a child. The village panics not because of tragedy, because now there's a murder trial. The pig is arrested, given a lawyer, and dressed in tiny clothes for court. The judge solemnly reads charges. Willful slaughter. The pig oinks. Everyone nods like justice is being served. Sometimes animals were found guilty and executed publicly, often hanged beside their owners. The logic? If God cared about fairness, he'd make the pig squeal in confession. You're watching a full courtroom of humans pretending law applies to livestock. It's absurd theater disguised as morality, like putting a squirrel on trial for tax evasion. 2. The toilet servant, groom of the stool. Imagine being the most trusted man in the kingdom, because you know exactly what the king's diet looks like in reverse. The groom of the stool handled royal bathroom duties, from wiping to inspecting quality. It was an honor, somehow. He got access to the king's secrets, political influence, and first-hand experience of royal digestion. Literally. The role symbolized loyalty, but mostly poor career choices. Yet nobles fought for it, because being near power mattered more than dignity. You, holding the royal cloth, are technically a high-ranking official. You're also one sneeze away from unemployment and eternal trauma. 3. The communal bathhouse date. Medieval spa night. Men, women, clergy. Everyone in one giant tub, naked and chatty. Steam, gossip, and diseases fill the air. People came to socialize, negotiate marriages, or just see who looked best covered in suds. But by the 15th century, syphilis and church pressure killed the fun. Bathing suddenly meant sin. So the same nobles who once flirted over hot water now bragged about never bathing at all. You're sitting in lukewarm soup, realizing you're soaking with your landlord, your confessor, and half the plague. Hygiene, meet irony. 4. The dancing plague. It starts with one woman dancing in the street, then dozens join. No music, no reason, just relentless, frantic movement. People dance for days until they collapse or die. In 1518, Strasbourg, authorities hired musicians to help them dance it out. Spoiler, it didn't help. Modern theories blame ergot poisoning, hallucinogenic mold on rye bread. But medieval minds saw divine punishment. You're watching a rave where the DJ is God and the playlist never ends. Eventually, exhaustion wins. Lesson learned. Don't eat cursed carbs. 5. Bloodletting for everything feeling sick. Clearly, you have too much blood. The medieval cure-all was, let's drain you like a wine barrel. From headaches to heartbreak, barbers, yes, the haircut kind, would slice a vein to balance your humors. The theory, fewer fluids, fewer problems. In reality, it just added anemia to your to-do list. You recline as the barber twirls his bloody razor, confident this is science. He's not wrong. It's technically biology. Yours leaking out. 6. Animal court sessions. Medieval Europe loved justice so much it extended it to cows, goats, and even bugs. If a rooster laid an egg, a sign of witchcraft, it could be burned at the stake. Locusts devouring crops. Excommunicated. You, the unlucky village lawyer, must defend a pig accused of sorcery and gluttony. The courtroom is packed. The judge quotes scripture. Someone swears the rooster looked guilty. Punishment follows, sometimes hanging, sometimes burial alive. The idea was divine order. Sin existed even in beasts. In truth, it was human absurdity trying to control chaos. You walk out realizing you just witnessed law cosplay with livestock. 7. Medieval beauty. Hacks forget Sephora. Your medieval skincare routine involves vinegar, lead, and powdered bone. Pale skin means wealth, so you smear your face with white lead paste, essentially painting yourself with poison. Mercury clears acne by removing the top layer of your lifespan. Some nobles bathe in wine or, trend of the year, urine, for brightness. The smell of success is ammonia. You try rouge made from crushed insects, eyebrows replaced with mouse fur, and teeth scrubbed with ashes. Everyone around you glows, mainly because of heavy metal toxicity. Beauty was pain, mostly permanent. 8. Saint relic trading boom. The Middle Ages invented the black market of holiness. Everyone wanted a saint's finger, bone, or toenail, authentic or not. Cathedrals competed over relics like influencers chasing clout. Some owned multiple heads of John the Baptist. Others had entire skeletons of Saint whoever. Relics brought pilgrims. Pilgrims brought money. You watch merchants selling genuine fragments of the true cross, enough wood to rebuild Noah's Ark. The faithful kissed bones, prayed for miracles, and sometimes got smallpox instead. Religion met capitalism centuries early, and everyone profited, except authenticity. 9. Wife beating as recreation. In some German towns, marital disputes were settled in public combat. Husband and wife fought with weapons to prove who was right. The man stood waist-deep in a pit with one arm tied behind his back. The woman got a rock in a sock. Equal rights, medieval edition. Crowds cheered as couples whacked each other under legal supervision. If she won, he could be executed. If he won, she was buried alive. You, sitting in the audience, realize medieval marriage counseling involved fewer hugs and more blunt force trauma. 10. Sumptuary laws. Fashion could be a crime. Kings decided what you could wear based on rank, because heaven forbid a merchant look as shiny as a duke. Too much silk? Fine. Bright colors? Blasphemy. Even shoe length was regulated. Long, pointed shoes meant arrogance. You're fined for your stylish hat, while the judge wears fur from 3 continents. The goal: keep classes visible at first glance. The result: nobles flaunted wealth harder, and peasants faked it anyway. It's medieval dress code enforcement by divine decree. Proof that jealousy predates Instagram. 11. Urine as laundry detergent. Welcome to medieval laundry day, where freshness comes from human waste. Urine, rich in ammonia, was prized for whitening fabric and removing grease. So people collected it in public barrels, sold it to fullers, the laundromat workers of the time, and used it like medieval tide. You wade barefoot in a vat of urine, stomping clothes to cleanse them. The smell is biblical. City streets reek of prosperity and bad decisions. When the church finally complains, towns insist it's for hygiene. You hang your tunic to dry, praying the wind blows toward France. 12. Marital bed inspections. Your wedding night isn't private. It's a civic event. Clergy or noble witnesses peek in to confirm the marriage was consummated. Sometimes they waited outside the door, sometimes, disturbingly, inside the room. Bed sheets were displayed like trophies, proof of virginity and politics. Failure to perform could void alliances, annul kingdoms, and spark wars. You lie there, under candlelight, with an audience and performance anxiety. Love, meet bureaucracy. The next morning, your sheets are evidence, and your dignity is state property. If you're still here, and not being tried for witchcraft, you clearly have good taste. So hit subscribe before the church declares curiosity a sin. 13. Trial by ordeal. The justice system had faith in physics, sort of. If accused of a crime, you might walk across fire or be dunked in water. If your burns healed quickly, you were innocent. If you drowned, God had cleared your name. Survival rates weren't great. Clergy believed divine intervention would protect the pure. In practice, the guilty and innocent roasted equally. You dip your hands into boiling water, praying for miracle-level skincare. Spoiler, blisters don't lie. Medieval courts called it justice. Modern science calls it barbecue. 14. The court jester's diplomatic immunity. Your job, make the king laugh. Your risk, death by punchline. Court jesters could insult rulers directly, a privilege no one else had. They mocked wars, taxes, mistresses, anything taboo, because humor made tyranny digestible. But step too far, and the laughter stops, followed by your career and heartbeat. You juggle truth and survival with every joke. The irony. The only person allowed to speak freely lived one joke away from execution. Stand-up comedy was literally a contact sport. 15. Funeral feasts and corpse cakes. Someone dies, and suddenly you're invited to dinner. Families held banquets over the coffin to celebrate the dead, sometimes placing food on the body for blessing. Guests ate corpse cakes, bread baked on the deceased's chest, to absorb their spirit. Comforting, if you ignored the hygiene. Alcohol flowed, people danced, and grief turned into a medieval block party. You nibble holy gluten, pretending this isn't weird. Death wasn't just mourned, it was catered. 16. The leech economy. Welcome to the most medieval side hustle, leech collecting. Doctors swore leeches could balance the humors, so someone had to supply them. Usually barefoot peasants wading through swamps until the worms latched on. Free inventory, paid in blood. You're knee-deep in mud, covered in parasites, earning pennies. Leeches were so popular that entire regions ran out of them. Some healers reused them. Ethically questionable, economically brilliant. Medicine met capitalism again, and your legs became the supply chain. 17. Medieval dentistry. Got a toothache? Good news, the blacksmith is free. Medieval dentistry was pain plus metalwork. Barbers, monks, or anyone with pliers pulled teeth without anesthetic. For cavities, there was cauterization, heated iron to the rescue. You open your mouth, smell burning, and suddenly understand faith. Toothworms were blamed for pain, so healers smoked them out with herbs or molten lead. You leave the chair bleeding, lighter by 1 molar, and several regrets. Congratulations, you're cured and slightly on fire. 18. The poison detector. Chicken royal banquets were high-stakes eating contests. To test for poison, servants fed food to chickens, dogs, or condemned prisoners first. If the tester survived, dinner was served. Silver spoons were also used. If they tarnished, someone was plotting treason. You sit at the royal table watching a chicken take the first bite of your stew. It lives. You eat. Then it dies, 5 minutes later. The Middle Ages, where dining out meant rolling initiative. 19. Monastic alarm clocks. Before smartphones, monks had divine scheduling. They needed to wake up for prayers 7 times a day. Some trained cats to pull ropes or let children into the dorm to yell hymns. Others relied on knocker-uppers, humans hired to poke them awake. You're a monk half asleep while a kid jingles bells in your ear. Sleep deprivation was seen as holy. Exhaustion was piety. By dawn, everyone's praying mostly for caffeine, which hasn't been invented yet. 20. Sumo priests and beer monks. Medieval monks preached moderation, then brewed beer strong enough to count as bread. During fasting, they drank gallons of it, technically liquid food. Some monasteries became early breweries, exporting ale while writing sermons about sin. You join them, chanting psalms with a pint in hand. The abbey smells like yeast and hypocrisy. By nightfall, everyone's drunk and quoting scripture. Religion had rules, but loopholes flowed like lager. 21. Child marriages for politics. Forget love. Your wedding is a treaty. Medieval nobles married children to seal alliances, sometimes before they could even walk. Ceremonies featured toddlers in miniature, crowns solemnly agreeing to eternal union. Years later, they'd meet again to actually live it. You're 7 years old, holding hands with a stranger twice your height, while priests declare you soulmates. Everyone applauds. The bride's dowry is worth more than her weight, literally. For the aristocracy, marriage wasn't romance. It was real estate management with baby witnesses. 22. The public execution picnic. Saturday entertainment, hangings, burnings, or beheadings. Bring the kids. Vendors sold snacks, musicians played, and the crowd rated each execution like a medieval talent show. The condemned gave speeches, some even cracked jokes before dying. You find a good seat, chew roasted nuts, and discuss technique. The church called it justice. The people called it fun. Afterward, everyone went home to dinner. Morality and spectacle shared the same scaffold. 23. Astrological medicine. Your doctor checks your horoscope before your pulse. The position of Mars decides your surgery date. Venus controls your digestion. Illness was blamed on planetary misalignment, basically cosmic customer service errors. You're told your nosebleeds are caused by Jupiter in retrograde. Bloodletting is postponed until Mercury behaves. Medical charts look like star maps, not anatomy. It's medicine by horoscope, and somehow people still survived long enough to invent real science. 24. The flagellant processions. In times of plague, people believed God demanded suffering, so they whipped themselves through the streets in rhythmic parades. You join a sea of penitents, backs raw and bleeding, chanting for mercy. The goal: earn forgiveness, end the plague. The result: public infection, shared blood, and zero improvement. Towns banned them after realizing they spread more disease than salvation. Still, the devotion was impressive. Nothing says faith like synchronized self-harm. 25. The ban on bathing. And now, the peak of medieval hygiene logic. Filth equals holiness. Bathing too often was lustful and weakened the body's spirits. So people bragged about not washing. Perfume replaced soap, and clothes layered over grime like archaeological strata. You haven't bathed in months, but at least you're morally spotless. Ironically, this obsession with purity helped spread disease faster than gossip. The Renaissance eventually reintroduced water, and humanity hasn't stopped thanking it since. So, congratulations. You survived the Middle Ages. You've danced yourself to death, bathed in urine, eaten bread baked on corpses, and somehow called it civilization. History loves to romanticize knights and castles, but the real medieval world was chaos held together by superstition and bad plumbing. It's a miracle humanity made it out, filthy, bleeding, but slightly wiser. Next time someone says they were born in the wrong century, show them this. Because unless they miss leeches, lice, and legalized pig trials, they're probably fine, right here in the present.